Dad still today gives us the same advice, the only advice he's ever given us, and that is just keep on trucking. And so we just kept on trucking. We never had a plan. If you talk to my dad today, you'll see me all stressed out, and he'll come in and so just keep on trucking. It's really good advice.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most specialist Money Mondays in history, because this is the first time, and hopefully the only time, we do this podcast not inside of the RV motorhome, but inside of the massive, fantastic, gorgeous Gravitas membership club here in Beverly Hills, California. 28,000 square feet. And we are inside the poker room, the podcast room that they built that is freaking gorgeous. Like the quality, the content, everything you guys have created here, the details of it is mind-blowing. Okay, as you guys know, on the Money Mondays podcast, we cover 3 core topics: how to make money, how to invest money, how to give it away to charity. But because this is a very special episode, and I have one of my best friends on the planet here with me right now, we're going to mix in about business of building a membership club in the heart of Beverly Hills, take on this huge undertaking. Why did he do it? How did he do it? Talk through the concept of building such a gorgeous place and spending 3 years of his life when he already has massive amounts, 17, 18 car dealerships we'll talk about. I think he's got like 50 or 60 gyms, probably more by now. Might have opened one just yesterday for all I know. We're going to go through all of those things. But as you guys know, these podcasts average a little bit under 40 minutes because the average workout is 45 minutes. The average commute to work is 45 minutes. This episode will be between 34 and 38 minutes for your listening pleasure. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Brandon Steven to give you a quick 2-minute bio so we can get straight to the money.
First of all, this is your first podcast outside of the motorhome?
Yeah, and hopefully the last.
Oh, my God.
Just for you.
And this is my first podcast, and this is the first podcast in the Gravitas podcast room.
Exactly.
That's 3 firsts. That's a lot.
That's a lot of firsts. Yeah. We got to make it extra good.
Okay, so 2-minute bio.
Yes.
Which I hate, so I probably won't even use the whole 2 minutes. I'm Brandon Steven. I am from Wichita, Kansas. I still live in Wichita, Kansas. People from Beverly Hills that have known me just from doing Gravitas are amazed that I still live in Kansas, but I love it there. I think first I'm a father, husband. I have 6 kids, 6 amazing kids, 5 daughters and a boy. I did start in the car business early on, like in my teenage years, working at my best friend's dad's car dealership. And then I just fell in love with the car business. Then my brother and I were partners. We opened up a health club. So I think we opened up our first health club in 95 and 94 in my first used car lot, which it's a little bit bigger in this room, in 95. And fast forward to 2024, we have 74 health clubs.
74?
74
we had
health
like
clubs.
60 like a week ago.
Not a week ago, Dan.
All right, 8 days ago.
And 21 car dealerships.
We had 18 car dealerships last time I saw him, which was a week ago.
So Dan's exaggerating again.
Okay, 9 days ago.
We have a couple restaurants. We have a hockey team. We have a lot of things, but our core business are health clubs and car dealerships. That's our core business. And my advice to most people is stay in your lane, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. And then I keep going outside my lane and doing restaurants and hockey teams and a membership club. What business do I have going in the heart of the Golden Triangle and building this massive project? So it was less than 2 minutes, right?
Yes, perfect.
Less than 2 minutes. Good.
So you already had a steakhouse in Wichita. That was kind of like practice, right? Practice of this fancy steakhouse you built there years ago. But why this? Why go build 28,000 square feet in the heart of Beverly Hills, right next to Mr. Chow and Cipriani and all these fancy places? How did you decide, you know what? I'm going to stake my ground right here on the corner of Camden and Santa Monica Boulevard?
The answer to that question is pathetic. There is no answer because I didn't plan this. It started out as I literally came to pick up my buddy Paul for lunch. And they had this patio outside that was very underwhelming for where it was at. And they were getting ready to put a restaurant inside in this little 4,000 square foot vacant space they had that was Wells Fargo. And I was talking to him. I'm like, I just don't understand. It just didn't work for me. It didn't make sense. And I was like, you should put a bar. This should be like a garden bar. This should be an outside bar. I mean, look where you're at. And he just kind of shrugged his shoulders like, whatever, you're from Kansas. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's not going to happen. You're not going to the city's not going to approve that. Okay, well, my question to myself was, well, how? How would they approve it? And that's literally how we started. And so it started out to be 12,000 square feet. And now, once we started going, I'm like, we need this.
We need this. We need this. And that's a good idea. Let's do that.
And as my business was growing, this was 37 months ago. Yep. That's when this project started.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need this for my business. I need this. And that's kind of where it just kind of dwarfed to.
So it's open. Time
We're
has come.
open. Today is day number 9.
Wow.
Wow, I was right. Yeah.
Are you happy? Are you ever happy as a business person?
I get a lot of congratulations, because I've been doing this for so long, building this, and so people congratulate me so long, and I don't want to say it just frustrates me. It irritates me when people congratulate me because I've done nothing yet. We are open.
Right.
We're open. That's only 1/3 of it. We built this amazing facility, but that's only 1/3 of it. Great service and great food are the other. And the club is 95% done construction-wise. So, Dan, you know me well enough to know, what do I see?
Everything to fix.
Yeah, I see the 5% that's not done. So that's just the way I've always been. So I do need to relax. I do need to appreciate how far I've come and how fun this is.
So walk me through why restaurant and not membership club. Like, why did you decide I'm going to go with membership club and go that route?
As it got bigger, and so I started expanding here, 5-6 years ago, my car business, I started expanding to Los Angeles. And as, I build a family, like in my car business. My team is my team, and they're very important to me. And my meetings are super important to me. And my celebration dinners with my employees are super. So it kind of dwarfed it. Like, I need a space for this. I need a space for this. There was a need for this in Beverly Hills. And so that's how it kind of dwarfed. And as I was building this restaurant and taking on more and more space, it just became a membership club. Like, it became like, okay, I can't just have everyone use this. I just walked you through and showed you that gorgeous, it's called the Pearl Room, the conference room. Like, it's a gorgeous room that I need for myself, which means other businessmen also need that for themselves. Right. And that was not going to be just open to the public. It needs to be just exclusive to our members.
So as you're building it, it's getting bigger, goes from 12,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. You build this retractable roof in the middle of Beverly Hills. You build this huge patio. But then you started talking to me about like cars hanging from the ceilings and like walk us through some of the extravagant parts. Like, why do those things? Do you think it matters to members? Do you think it matters to the brand? Like, why did it click in your mind? Like, I'm going to hang a fancy car from the ceiling.
I like people to tell me no and then to overcome it. I love the challenge. Like, everyone says you cannot. Literally everybody, my designers, everyone says you're not going to be able to hang an 18-foot F1 car from the ceiling.
It sounds silly.
It sounds silly. And then now with that, there's all kinds of sponsorships. Like, I get to wrap the car. It's going to be a Red Bull car. I just found out yesterday. I'm doing a deal with Honda Racing Club. It's going to be a Red Bull car, 18-foot, hanging from the ceiling, actual Red Bull car. Why not, right?
Why not?
That's a separate room. That's called the Vault. Later, we're going to sell. I'm going to sell naming rights to that room. I built a huge. So to get Beverly Hills for me to prove to drive a car through the curb, up to the curb, into the building was a whole nother task, a whole nother world. Sure. But why not? Why not have a place where people can unveil their cars? Whether you're buying a car, whether it's a F1 unveiling, whether it's Bentley releasing their new model, that's what that room's for. Come to find out, we've only been open for 9 days. That room's been rented out 3 nights. It's not even done. It's like It's the room that's the most incomplete, and it's been the room that people want the most. So that was the last edition.
And on the wine side of it, talk us through. It seems like people can actually leave their wine here. They can store their wine here.
Yeah. So that was something I did not know. Advice from Paul, who's my buddy here with this building. He's like, Brandon, there's a huge need for wine storage in LA. People will pay whatever for wine storage. I'm like, yeah, okay, Paul. Sure enough. So we built these almost 400 wine lockers. I don't know if you know anything about memberships. We're doing what we call GEM, gym memberships, which is we're only selling a few of them. They're lifetime memberships. With that lifetime membership, you also get like a huge 12 by 12 wine locker by biometrics. So you walk up, you put your thumbprint in it, and the wine locker comes out. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous room. That room won't be done for another month. But we just started renting out those wine lockers, and they're almost sold out.
So to the entrepreneurs that are out there, like, I want to open a restaurant. Obviously not necessarily a 28,000 square foot one, but let's say they're 2,800 square feet. They want to open up their first thing. What was advice you would tell them when they're first planning, like...
Not to do it.
Not to do it.
Not to do it.
There you go.
Yeah. Not to do it.
Thank you.
That's probably not a good answer. Ask me again. I'm sorry.
No, it's a great answer. By the way, I've been going very hard the last 2 years saying most people should not be entrepreneurs. They're not built for it. They don't realize that they're trying to be the entrepreneur because they heard someone fancy on social media say, you should just tell your boss that you're going to quit and go become an entrepreneur. They don't realize that you're not going to make money for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, even when your business makes money. Let me explain real quick, guys. Let's say Brandon and I decide to start whitetshirts.com. in whiteteshirts.com, Brand and I crush it. We put in $100K each to start it. We got $200 grand in capital. We go do $1.5 million in sales our first year. Brand and I should be happy, right? Does anyone know out there how much money that Brandon and I pull out of the 1.5 million sales?
0.
It rhymes with 0.
Yeah.
Because what happens? Well, 50% of it goes to the cost, manufacturing, production, and shipping. 12% is going to go to the marketing. 5% on the paid ad spend. We're going to get a convention booth. We're going to have staff. We're going to have employees. But then for year 2, we're going to go from $1.5 million to $4 million. We crush it. Brand and I freaking crush it. Guess how much Brand and I pull out?
Negative.
Negative, exactly. You know why? Because it's working. So if your business sucks, you're not going to make money. And if it's working, you pour all the money back in and you take on debt or investors or loans or something to scale the business because it's working. You didn't get paid year 1, year 2, year 3, etc. And so when I tell people that, it's hard for them to grasp. They just see fancy numbers on social media like, oh, they did $4 million in sales. That's gross sales. That's not net profit. And you, as the entrepreneur or CEO, are dead last to get paid from staff, from vendors, from lawyers, accountants, leases, and everything between. They're all first, and you are dead last. And even when you're dead last, you're probably not going to get paid. All right, but I digress. So, Brandon, Stephen.
There's an exception to every rule.
Of course.
So there's an exception to that as well. And I do agree completely with what you said. Not everyone is meant to be entrepreneurs. And that's not a negative thing.
Right.
You can make so much money working for a company like myself where we actually enhance you being an entrepreneur inside of our company. When that company already has the infrastructure, already has all the things you need to expand your database, which in essence is your business inside of my company,
right.
Our company. And that's what I've done inside my car business is I've enabled great people to market inside my company. Instead of doing everything you're talking about, building their own infrastructure, having all these resources, not having the funds to advertise and market, IT fund. I mean, there's so many things inside of my company that an entrepreneur could come in and just expand his business inside, which is good for some people. And some people want the
they want the pain.
How'd you know this finished?
They want the pain.
They want the pain. And some people will just get lucky and have a great product that costs very little, and they get to produce a lot of income off it, and they get to take money home right away. But I would definitely say that's the exception to the rule.
So some of you listening, after I went on my tirade about entrepreneurs is hard.
You definitely did, by the way.
I'm very passionate about it.
I can see that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people get stressed out, and I don't want society to think that you should just quit your job. I think you should save up money, have 6 to 12 months saved up in your piggy bank, because you're probably not gonna make money for a long time, even when it works.
It's interesting you say the word stressed out. I'm 51. I opened up my first business at 11 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
And it's crazy. And I kept on opening, and I'm still opening businesses. Right. And I'm still stressed out. Like, it's crazy. My poor wife and my kids see me stressed out all the time. And some people will come up to me and say, gosh, celebrate, relax. And a true entrepreneur it's always in there. I remember somebody told me 25 years ago, an entrepreneur in Kansas, a real estate guy that I just immensely still admire, he kept on saying, Brandon, it's just more zeros. And you're right. It's just bigger zeros. But the things that stress me out now would have literally murdered me 25 years ago. And the things 25 years ago that stressed me out now are like nothing to me. Right. So they just get bigger. And the stress, unfortunately, gets bigger.
So employee number 2, 4, 7, you can live a really good life. There's nothing wrong with not being employee number 1. Think about it for this, be realistic. Employee number 4 at your car dealerships, or employee number 4 at your gyms. They make good money, right?
They make great money, but it does not mean they're not stressed.
Of course.
Because if they're there and they're that high up inside of our company, they are like us. They want more. They see the 5% that's not done. They see the 12% that was they could have got, they should have got. They see the crumbs.
But what they don't have to pay your rent, your insurance, your payroll, your liabilities, your lawyers.
Stop making it sound worse than it is. I mean, it is bad.
Did I exaggerate something?
You didn't exaggerate it, but I think the people that are that high up that have been with me for 30 years, they feel it with me. I
love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
And that's
I want people to be okay being employee number 4, getting some equity, making 6 figures a year.
Sometimes that's even better.
For sure.
Because you do get to go home at night and have the meal tastes better sometimes. Your sleep, you do get a better night's sleep, I would say, for sure.
Okay, so the tirade is over from that part of it.
I'm guessing you're going to come back to the tirade, though.
Well, yeah, I'm passionate about it. On the investing side of the world, you've chosen to invest a lot of capital into this project, 20,000 square feet. When you're making investment decisions, whether it's real estate, more car dealerships, more gyms, a massive location in the middle of Beverly Hills. How are you thinking about it? Are you talking to other people? Or is it advisors or partners, friends? Or is it you on a whiteboard like, okay, this is my crazy plan. This is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, that $25 whiteboards cost me a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did not do a very good job of investing in this bar. So I would definitely tell everybody everything I did in Gravitas you should not do.
It's gorgeous though.
Like I would say,
Sounds
actually,
great.
everything that I did, you should do the exact opposite. I started out with a great plan. I was going to make it small. My budget, I'm embarrassed to tell you guys this, but I'm going to tell you. My budget for the first 12,000 square feet was $13 million. And I spent 2 months value engineering with my team, 2 months to get it from 13 million to 11.4.
Nice.
And I'm like, I did it. I was really proud of myself. I signed the contract. Let's go. $11.4 million. Now, it's ironic that we got from 13 to 11.4, not 11. Let's not round off to 11.
Yeah.
And we're at $37 million is what I spent. And guess what? I'm still going.
Right. You still have 5% to finish.
Yeah, 37. But I'm so happy that I got it to 11.4 by spending 2 months to value
Right. The
engineer.
whiteboard says 11.4.
Yeah. So back to your question. This was a horrible investment idea. Like and then when I got it down to 11, I was going to get 20 partners, friends of mine, and say, hey, this is going to be a passion project for all of us. We're going to build this great thing, and we're going to use it for ourselves. And then as it got bigger and it got bigger, the number got to 23 million. I was for sure.
That's it. We're done.
23 million, I'm done. I went ahead and talked to some of my buddies about it and said, here's what we're going to do. And I said, we're close, and I'll get the information to you when we get closer. And the number got so big that I just said I can never bring somebody else in as a partner in this deal. And so I own 100% of it. Unfortunately, when I say my brother and I are partners, we own 100% of that. Interesting enough, Rodney, my brother, I kept on telling him for the last 16, 18 months, you need to come to LA to see what you're doing. He's like, I'm busy. You got that part. I'm like, you need to come to LA to see what we're doing. And as the numbers got bigger, he came last week, by the way.
Oh, finally.
Yeah.
3 years later.
Yeah, 3 years later.
On month 36, he came by.
He had dinner.
Oh, that's nice. Was it good?
He loved the food, yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. From an investing perspective, when you have infinite options because you're surrounded by so many people, relationships, you travel a lot, how do you decide between real estate, stock market, investing in companies, outside of just investing in your own business?
So I know a lot of people. You know a lot of people. We have a lot of friends. We're very passionate with our friends. One thing I'll tell you is when you're in the position that we're in, everybody comes to you with their new idea to invest in. If it's not once a week anymore, it used to be once a week that people would come to me and say, hey, I want you to invest in this. And now it's not as often because people know very clearly that I do not invest in other people's business. I know that you're very good at that. I am not. I've done it a lot in the past, and I'm tell you I'm 0 for whatever. That's not true. Maybe I'm 1 for whatever. Rodney and I have decided we're going to invest in us. So we're going to invest in projects we do. I have no problem spending an infinite amount of money borrowing it or in my own capital of a car dealership or a health club because I know for certain that I will win. That's not arrogant. It's because we have solid processes. We have an incredible team that's been with us, number 4 employees. They've been with us since the 90s. So we have confidence in our team for our 2 core businesses, health clubs and car dealerships. We know for sure that I can go buy a car dealership that's broken and fix it. That's not arrogant. Trust me, it's really not arrogant because it's just a proven process. And it's the team that we've built, the teams that we built. We know for sure that we can go into market for health clubs and we're going to do very well. Health clubs are a little different because it takes us years to curate the market. But we're good. We're really good at buying the real estate and then putting the best health clubs in the best places. So real estate is it's interesting because we're in the car business, in the health club business, but we own all of our facilities.
Oh, wow.
So we're really real estate developers, but not really.
Right, like the McDonald's model.
Yeah, but for car dealerships and health clubs.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting enough, that Gravitas is the only thing in the world that I don't own. I'm leasing this space, which is very frustrating that I spent all that money on leased space.
So if the developer, if you're listening, Brandon would like to buy this building at some point.
Not now. I should have bought it in 2021
right.
when it was worth a lot less after I spend all this money on it.
Yeah. Okay. So when you have brother focusing on the gyms, yourself focusing on the car dealerships, where does the trust come in? At what point you're like, you know what, I'm not going to play around in your business. You're not playing around my business. You obviously listen to each other because you're brothers, but how do you get someone to stay focused on their thing?
That's never there. And I still help Rodney, and he still helps me. It's hard. Like, Rodney's the face of the health clubs, and I'm the face of the car dealerships. But it's interesting enough. We are both in the same business. Like, it's about retention.
Yeah.
Right? It's so much cheaper and so much better for us to spend money retaining a customer and retaining a team member versus hiring a new team member and trying to get a new customer. It's easier to retain a health club. Anybody that's just come to work out, everyone who comes in, right, Roger? They come in and they get all excited to work out for the first 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and they go crazy, and then they start to work less. Yeah. That's where we come in. We're like, hey, listen, we've built the software. We know that Dan came in an average of 3 times a week, and now it's 2 times a week, and now it's 1 time a week. Well, we're going to spend the money to retain Dan now. Right. Let's give Dan a personal training session. Right. Let's get Dan back in here and try to keep Dan as a member. Same with the car customers. Our people come to our dealership. Nobody wants to shop for a car. I mean, it's like they actually equate it to going to the dentist, going to the car dealership. It's scary. People hate going to the car dealership. We've tried to change that, where people come in. We try to make it more of a personal experience where you're a sales professional, you get to know them, and you get to know the manager. And that's the easiest and best way to retain a customer. And guess what? It's also the best way to retain a team. I spent my whole life building the culture around you, making sure your environment's perfect. If you do that and your customers feel it from your team, you win.
So when you build a place like Gravitas, or you build a chain of gyms or a chain of car dealerships, is there an end in mind? You build it with an exit in mind, or you build them as legacy for the family? Like, what are your thoughts when you go into it?
That's a great question. Do you have the answer?
It's my job.
I was hoping you have the answer to that question because I don't. We've talked about it a lot. It's tough because our kids are getting older now. Rodney's 3 of his kids, 4 of his kids now working in the gyms. I have 3 of my kids now working in the business. It's interesting. It's like, because we didn't do a good job of thinking about legacy. We just started working. We kept working. We kept on plowing for it. My dad still today gives the same advice, the only advice he's ever given us, and that is just keep on trucking. Mm-hmm. And so we just kept on trucking. We never had a plan. If you talk to my dad today, you'll see me all stressed out, and they'll come in and so just keep on trucking. It's really good advice. So I don't have a great answer about legacy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the charity side of things. Why do you think it's important for businesses? So let's say the car dealerships, gyms, or someone out there has a restaurant or insurance agency. Why should they have some type of charity component, if they have to or not? Why should they have some type of charity component for their staff, investors, partners, or vendors to be able to see?
Yeah. I don't know if I have a good answer to why they should. I've seen a lot in this realm. Like, not only did I used to be hit a lot about, and like people would always come to me and say donations. And I never said no. I hated being the guy that said no, but I didn't enjoy it as much. Like, writing a check to me is not that big of a deal. I don't mean that negative way. Like, I never got great pleasure out of it because I never really saw the effects of it. So about 15 years ago, I had a poker tournament in Wichita, Kansas for kids. At the time, it wasn't called GIFT, which is GFFT, Genesis for Fitness and Tennis, but it was just for these underprivileged kids. And I saw my staff couldn't wait to volunteer their time to help. They just couldn't wait. Yeah. Then they loved to see me passionate about helping. Now it's this huge foundation that we started, but it's only for local kids. And I get a lot of, it's pretty rewarding. That's all I can tell you. It's pretty rewarding. It's like, for an example, we give shoes to kids every year. It used to start out as a couple hundred, and we ran out, and then now it's a couple thousand pairs of shoes we give kids to these underprivileged areas in Wichita. And my mom goes all the time, and it's like she cries every time. It's like kids it's amazing. It's sad, but it's still amazing when you give somebody their first brand new pair of shoes. Now, Dan, we're talking about somebody that's 13 or 14 years old, and they get their first brand new pair of shoes. And it just blows your mind of how the things that we take for granted. And so, to answer your question, how is it important? I don't know if it's important for everyone, but it was amazing when how much of our team, our big team, they look forward to volunteering their time because they got that same feeling inside when they see it.
Yeah. A lot of people think about charity. They think about money. They think about the initial reaction, what Brandon said was like just writing a check. But charity really is more about the time and energy, passion.
Which is more important.
For sure.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Because you can do those type of things. Like most of the charities that we've created are about people going out and giving out backpacks to the homeless, or giving toys to kids, or doing Thanksgiving food drives. Like, it's not about, you don't see me doing like, hey, we raised $1 million and ding, 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 ding. Like, we don't do that stuff. Like, we do, hey, we want you to do a toy drive in your city. We want you to do backpacks for the homeless. We want you to go do a tipping dinner and surprise tip staff. Like, give away your clothes in your closet. Like, our stuff is not about money. The things that I post about, it's about people replicating for their own version. What do they like? Yeah. What do they want to see? And then you find the thing that you like. You might have done 3 or 4 different charities before finally like, wait, this is the one that all the staff likes, or this is the one that you individually like. What about on the family side? Are the kids ever involved in charity stuff? Do they like anything in particular?
Yeah, they do. They've been part of the foundation that we've done forever. And, doing all this and being in Wichita for my whole life and a lot of these other foundations, I volunteer some of my time for other people's stuff and events. And I'll stumble along a family that's like, wow, sometimes a family will blow your mind. Like he's working 2 jobs, she's working 2 jobs. They got 5 kids at home and they're barely cutting it.
Right.
And so I'll just very anonymously will go in and help the family.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll always take my kids with me. And then it comes to the point where one year you do it and the next year you do it. Now It's like they're part of your deal. Like you just do that. And my kids do that for me now. My assistant, God bless her, because she does she handles all. And like every once in a while she'll tell me, hey, listen, this person I just found out is struggling. And I'm like, send him to the spa, or, whatever. And we just do random stuff. And that's all anonymous. And it's like, as bad as it is, I get a lot of pleasure out of that. That makes me feel good about me. I don't want to say wasting money, but some of the silly things that I do waste money on, it makes me feel better when I get to do that for somebody else.
Last question. We didn't really cover about the concept of the membership club. How do people apply for membership clubs? What does a company look for when they're thinking about how to curate? Because there's different types of membership clubs. There's obviously the chains like Soho House that are around the world. Then there's some smaller format ones that are like restaurants mixed with a health club or something. Like, walk us through the concept of like people being onboarded. What's the concept of a membership club in general?
It's been interesting, and I don't want to say that we're figuring it out as we go, but we're kind of figuring it out as we go. I know what I don't want to be. How about that?
Sure.
I don't want to be snobs. I'm trying to bring Midwestern hospitality into Gravitas. You saw me downstairs. I told Seth that I'm going to be at the front door all night tonight, and I will be at the front door all night. And the only reason I'm going to be there tonight is I want to make sure that nobody comes off the street and our hostess says, oh, we're membership only. And they're going to say it the nicest, sweetest way as possible. I want to shake their hand and say, oh, man, welcome to Gravitas. Tonight's night number 8 or 9. Let me show you our club. And we have to be respectful of our members, so we're not going to be giving tours. But I want to make sure that they feel like we're not snobs.
Sure.
I know that Beverly Hills is Beverly Hills, and everyone deserves that sense of exclusivity, and we're going to have that. We're definitely going to have that. But we've been fortunate where we've got a lot of applications in. And right now, we're only approving referrals. So like if you're a member, you can refer somebody, then we're going to look at them and treat them. But everyone else has kind of been on the wait list. And we're going to open that up here in a couple of weeks. I just want to get open, make sure our food is great, which it is great.
That's
our
really
services,
good.
our services out is incredible. So I'm really comfortable now to start letting members in.
Can you talk about the pricing?
Yeah, it's very, very, very affordable. I didn't want to go crazy high. I wanted to appeal to me at 20 years old, 25 years old. We could have, for sure.
But this place you could have. I mean, this is gorgeous. I
didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be about the money. I wanted to, like I told somebody the other day, this club represents everything that I needed in almost all of my stages of my business life and my personal life.
Yeah, there's a whole sports bar right there.
Yeah.
right next to us.
As we walk through here, yeah. So it represents all that. So it's $2,500 to sign up, which is cheap. That's one-time fee. It's an initiation fee. And it's $5,500 per person.
Nice.
I know everyone told me, you don't have spousal memberships in LA. I'm like, why?
Why?
I want the wives here.
Yeah.
I want the wives to be able to come without the husbands. And I'm like, let's face it, women get shit done.
Yeah.
And women plan things.
Yeah.
And we show up.
Right. Exactly.
And women they have opinions, and they have no problem expressing their opinions, and we need that here. And so it's $7,500 for a spouse for a year, which is cheap. Yeah.
Is there corporate versions also?
No, not yet. Not to say there won't be, but we just don't have any corporate right now.
Got it. Brandon Stephen. I have a question I ask everyone that comes on the podcast, and I've never, ever gotten the same answer. I don't think I'm going to get the same answer in this case as well. So you're a healthy guy. So hopefully it takes 100 years, 200 years with modern technology, and maybe you'll have bionic arms and bionic different organs, and you survive to 162 years old. But unfortunately, at some point, you pass away, and Gravitas, maybe it ends up being in 10, 20, 30 cities for all we know. Maybe there's hundreds of car dealerships. Maybe there's hundreds of gyms. And you build this multi-billion-dollar legacy, and it's finally time to pass away. What do you leave to those 6 kids?
Oh,
what percentage?
What a great question. And I have heard you say that before, but it sounds different when you're sitting right here. If I was to ever write a book, I would title it, I Started With Everything. What do you think I mean by that? Or do you know what I mean by that?
I have a version of what I think it is.
Yeah. So many success stories you hear, and they always start with the same thing. Oh, I started with nothing. I started with literally everything I needed, both in my business and my personal life. My parents gave it to me. My grandparents gave it to me. My grandparents on both sides of my family gave it to me. I mean, I am extremely lucky to be raised the way I was. When I was raised by my dad, I couldn't wait to go to work at his dad, my grandfather's car wash. I'm talking about 9, 10, 11 years old. I couldn't wait to go work there because the whole family worked there because they worked hard. I couldn't wait to go to my grandparents' house for Christmas to set up the Christmas decorations. It was because it was open to the whole city, and the whole city during all of December, you could wait in 20 minutes in line to get to my grandparents' Christmas play. But every single night we had to work to keep this thing going, and I just couldn't wait to do it. And it wasn't about the money. It was about I didn't want to be outworked by my grandparents or by my uncles or by my brothers and my dad especially. And then they taught me how to be a good person all the time. You know, having integrity is not situational.
Right.
Which unfortunately a lot of people think it's a situational thing, and I learned that early on. I don't know if I was rich or poor growing up. I don't know. We didn't know. It wasn't about the money. It was about being together with family. My parents made it very. I don't know if they did it, but we always wanted to be with our cousins and our uncles and aunts. Still today, we are with our cousins, our uncles and aunts. My kids are today, their best friends are their cousins and their uncles and aunts. And so the best thing they gave me was that, the ability to know good from bad, which is a big deal. Because a lot of people will know the difference, but they choose bad, which is scary. But my parents taught me everything I needed about being a good person. And with that became the work ethic. I remember my dad used to take us out of school. He used to come to grade school and get Rodney and I out of school because he had self-service car washes and they would freeze up. And he needed hands to get them to not freeze up. And so we just didn't know any better. I mean, that's just what we did. We worked and we loved it. So literally I started with everything. So if I could give my kids something, I think I've done that, my wife has done that, is they have that same goodness inside their heart and that same work ethic.
All right, so if people want to come to Gravitas, apply to Gravitas, walk us through how do they find this place? How do they apply?
I want everyone to take a tour. I don't want people just to sign up.
Got it.
It makes me sad. A friend of mine came in when I was walking up here for this. I saw Lee, and he's like, oh, I was explaining the floor to him because the floor has all these lines on it. It's a travertine floor, and it has all these lines in it, and they go like this. And I'm like, oh, that's to scale the streets of Beverly Hills, and you can see all the names, and like all three of them, like, oh my God, that made me sad because I spent so much energy and time to make that. Right. And there's so many cool things like that in this restaurant that are specific to Beverly Hills. I want everyone to take a tour. I don't want people to sign up and say, oh, I'm already a member. I'm like, I've not done my job. He's a good friend of mine, but I'm like, he should be taking a tour. So I want everyone to take a tour. You can go to gravitas.com, gravitasbeverlyhills.com. Either way, you get to the same place and you can apply. And then it's going to ask you to take a tour. The best thing you can do is go there and just say request a tour. Or you can come in during the day and just take a tour. From 2 to 4 is probably the best for us.
How was your first podcast?
It went fast. Is that 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I don't have a clock, but I can tell you it's 40 minutes.
Yeah. I'm not good about talking about myself, so it's good you actually have me talk about the company and stuff, which was interesting.
All right, guys. As you know, the whole concept of Money Mondays is we all grew up thinking it's rude to talk about money. I think it's rude not to talk about it. I think it's a problem in our society. People can't talk about FICO scores and loans, and if their friend borrows money for rent, what should they do to get it back? Should they sign a contract? Should they lease a car or buy a car? There's so many questions people have because they turn 18 years old and we just throw them out into society, and they don't know because they didn't learn in high school and they're not even learning in college what to do about money. They can't spell IRS. They don't know how to pay their taxes. They don't know how to open a bank account. They don't know how to manage a budget, anything, because we think it's rude to talk about it. So it's important for us on this podcast for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, share it. As you know, we've been running this ad-free. We want you guys to enjoy the experiences. We have a 93% listen-through rate because of this. We're not sitting here reading these 2-minute long, 3-minute long commercials. I want you to enjoy these experiences, especially with someone like Brandon Steven, who's built up in multiple verticals, these huge companies. These are the type of podcasts for you to share with your friends, talk with your staff, talk with your family, talk with your followers about money. So visit us at themoneymondays.com, and we'll see you guys next Monday.